This one could get silly. All right, here we go. All right, here we go. I know. I just wanted to see how long she'd pause for. Hey, so I believe in reinvention, reinventing ourselves in a constant path of discovery. In business, though, sometimes people shy away from that. And this is definitely something I wished I'd known when I started my business. Listen, reinvention is a key thing in business, constant reinvention. There's reinventing your company and there's reinventing you as a person. The reason I bring that up is, let me take you back 10 years ago, actually a little longer than 10 years ago, when the economy was pretty challenging, much like it is today. And you might be feeling that, whether that be because of COVID, supply chain problems, and it's impacting your business. You may have been laid off. You may be looking to start a business, whatever it is. It's a lot of similarities today as to what it was 11, 12 years ago in the economy. And for me at that time, I was in real estate. I was heavily involved in real estate. And it was very challenging and had a whole lot of problems there in that economy. And I think what was interesting is you probably feel this way, that your identity comes from what you do, right? So when people even meet me that, oh, what do you do? Well, I'm a real estate agent, or I'm a chiropractor, I'm an insurance agent. You're like, your identity is wrapped up in what you do. That really isn't who you are. And I recently just had a conversation with a friend of mine who is at that stage of life where he's asking himself the deep questions and he's reinventing himself. And that's what I had to do 10 years ago. The economy forced me to sort of look deep at not like what could I do as a career, but what could I do that I feel called to reach a level of significance. I had to force myself to look in the mirror and say, you know what, it's time to maybe take a different path and reinvent myself, not just the business, but myself. And understand that that is okay. Don't be afraid of it. Don't be afraid to reinvent, to look inside and to try to come up with something new. So how do you do that? I think for a lot of people, and where it was for me, is I had to look at what were the strengths that I had. And the key strength that I had was, even though my business was struggling at the time, and what got me through was the relationships that I had built. What I understood is I had a couple of key superpowers. I could build relationships with business owners. I could help them feel like what they were doing was impactful. I could send others to them. I could network, and then I could help them grow their business. And I coupled all of that together and started to build a model for what ideally it would look like. What happens often in this reinvention phase is we start to fill in the answers before the questions are even done being asked. I was looking at this idea. In fact, we wrote it up on a napkin and sort of mapped it out of what master networks could be if we wanted to do it. But the question is, how are we going to make money, right? When you're in that phase of reinvention, often it's because you're not making money at what you're doing. And so you're looking at a new opportunity to make money. When I looked at that, I was like, okay, I take money off the table. Does this path feel like something I could do and would bring me energy and value? And could I bring energy and value to the marketplace? That became the key for me in my reinvention. And of course, I got support from others. So here's what I want you to know. If you're looking at reinventing yourself, don't worry about what others think about the process of you reinventing yourself. It's actually not just okay, it's sometimes warranted. Most people will probably reinvent themselves 3 or 4 times during their career and during their life. Some people jump careers and move in different directions. And in an economy like we're in right now, with supply chain demands, inflation, and then you just have businesses struggling, and you put all that together, it makes it difficult for people to do business, and some will lay off people. You may be struggling with that. So don't worry about it. Like, if you're ever were in a time to reinvent, it would be during a challenging economy, because lots of people have to. I remember when I did that, I remember thinking, like, what are others going to think about me? Because everyone knows me as this real estate guy I had been for 10 years. But what I quickly realized from a friend of mine, he said, Jess, you're not the only one reinventing right now. You're not the only one doing this path. You're not the only one changing. It became more socially acceptable. And I don't know why I needed that, but I did. If that's you, just understand this is a great time to do that, because people understand people have to do whatever it takes to make money, have a career, and do those things. But this is also the greatest opportunity for you to do what you feel called to do and make that part of your path. There's never been a greater time for you right now to look at the opportunities in the world, because we've never gone through something that we're going through, at least those of us who are alive right now, to go through a pandemic with inflation, with all of the challenges that we have. It's not just about money, but you'll have a lot of people who come out super successful, millionaires, multimillionaires, who will be self-made through these challenges because they chose intentionally to reinvent themselves.